Hey everybody, it's MedTech67 again, and I'm back. It's been a long 2 weeks, and a NICU stay, and now I got a new kiddo in the house, so I'm not sleeping at all. We were planning on Tyler getting some of this done, but he just went full Marine on me and went off mission and decided to go do everything else. I'm just kidding. He had plenty of other work to do, so he decided to put this aside, which I don't blame him. He prioritized right. So we're going to get back done on this. We already have our power steering pump on. Which I believe we got that in the other part, didn't we, Tyler? Putting on the power steering pump. Pretty sure we did.
No, it needs torque.
Yeah, we still got to torque that thing down, but it's on. And then we're gonna pop on the AC compressor. I've already cleaned up the oil pan a little bit, just so we'll know if it's leaking again, because this thing had a lot of oil all over the place. So we're gonna torque down our power steering pump real quick. We'll torque down our AC compressor, start running the wires and all the brackets back for that, and keep moving with this thing. All right, so we got 26 foot-pounds here. 26 here, and then right up there, it's hard to see, there we go, that guy right there at focus, that guy gets 19 foot-pounds. Alright, we'll tighten this guy down to 19. And then you can put your little bracket, your little wire bracket back on, and if you're really touched like I am, the torque for that is 27 inch-pounds. Alright, so we can get our power steering hose back on. If you took that line off, tighten it back down. Do you know what the torque on that one is? I'll throw it up on the screen for you. The manual doesn't tell you to necessarily take it off. I just want you to pull it off and set it to the side. This is a great time to flush your power steering fluid, by the way. Alright, so before you go try putting your alternator up, get you a punch. Give this bushing a few gentle taps. It doesn't take much. You're just making a little bit of room so that this alternator slides on a little bit easier. Ah! Hitting the camera. Alright, I'll wait for you to get this. You ready? Here, you get this? Oh. And now it just slips right on us there. It slips right on for us. So we get our stud bolt. All right, we're gonna put our bolt in, not the stud. Bolt goes in at the bottom, not the stud. I knew that. That's a thing I knew. All right, and now the stud can go in at the top with a little 7mm facing out. Alright. Run a little 7mm in. So the stud is 71 inch-pounds. How much for the net? 35 foot-pounds?
Sure, we'll go 35.
Yeah, 35 foot-pounds. Come on. All right. Copy that. So it's 18 foot-pounds on these tensioners. All right, got us some new tensioners and a new water pump. There we go. Not lined up on the bottom. There we go. I wish you guys could appreciate the level of twister mechanic slash camera work that is going on here right now. That's Tyler's hand in the screen and my hand in the screen. Hardest thing about being a mechanic on YouTube is the filming. Guys, on down to 18 foot-pounds. For the record, it did move a little bit. There's always those guys in the comments section. You over-torqued it. It didn't even move when you put the torque wrench on it. And I say, yeah, you're right. That did happen. I'm not perfect. Never claimed to be. Any day now. There we go. Torque on these was 133 inch-pounds. Make sure your gasket's lined up. Pop that guy back home. 133. This is why people just snug stuff. I'm just putting that out there.
Focus.
Next, we need to get our spark plug tube seals out and our VVT seals out. So we're going to knock these out. We've already kind of rinsed it off once, but after we take these out, we're going to give it a good wash, get all this crap off of it completely. We're going to clean out our grooves for our valve cover gasket. You're going to blow that out completely so it's bone dry. And then we can pump in our new seals, and this thing will be ready to go on. Be careful, these valve covers are notorious for being kind of porous and liking to crack on you, so I've got it supported by this nice soft bag of rags. Grab you a punch, catch just the edge of it. Make sure you're getting just the tube seal, and it'll pop right out. Don't get this lip right here, you'll chip it right off and crack it and cry to mama. Okay, and then we'll clean this guy up real good so it looks brand new, dry it off. Dry out the grooves and put new seals in. Our VVT tube seals and our spark plug tube seals. The VVT tube seal part number is a Bravo Romeo 3 Zulu 6 Charlie 535 Alpha. You're going to need 4 of those, and then the spark plug tube seal is a Bravo Romeo 3 Zulu 6 Charlie 535 Bravo. You will need 6 of those. So pop that bad boy on there. You do not need to be aggressive with this. I've got a driver that's a little bit bigger than it, so it'll take it down to flush. A little bit more. More. Perfect. It's flush. And honestly, if you want to, you can almost just push if you don't want to use your hammer. But be careful with these valve covers. Like I said, they're known to be porous. All right, and then we do our spark plug. So I'm using the Maddox Mad Dog 10-1, and the second up seal actually fits perfectly because there's a lip right here. It won't let you push it in too far. So if you're wondering for a good cheap tube seal, or a seal and race driver to get, this one, I've had it for a few years now, and I've used the dog piss out of it, and it has held up really well. I think I've had it for about 3 years now. So just drop that bad boy in there. As my astute colleague just noted, in a very politically incorrect way, I should make sure that you guys know these go in the flat side down, and that lip should be facing towards you. That way it slides over the tube real easy, it doesn't catch on your way in. Let's see here. Just got to find. There we go. Got it. Got it. Let's push that bad boy on in. Make sure it lines up on all your corners that isn't binding, because that will absolutely cause a leak. Alright, so we got our valve cover surfaces cleaned up within reason. You want to clean up really well these two spots right here, and you're going to take a razor blade and shave off the squeeze through that you got when you put the timing cover on, so you have a nice flat surface. And after you get it clean, you're going to do a dab of silicone right there and right down here. And I need the tray places there. There's this. Where do we get this squeeze in here? Take you a bit of silicone grease, or you can use motor oil. Just lube up these tube seals and the VVT solenoid seals. That way it'll drop on there a lot easier and you won't go tearing anything and causing a leak later on. Also make sure that your tubes are nice and clean. There's no dirt on them. Clean all the schmutz off of the parts where it seals onto the VVT solenoid. Now I don't want to smear that RTV we put on, so get lined up in the back before you go dropping it down in the front, and go right down onto the bolt holes. Now it's just a matter of push it down onto those tube seals. Oh, I thought that just tore my shirt. Alright, so the torque is 89 inch-pounds, and then no degrees, just 89 inch-pounds. It's kind of in an X pattern. Tyler, spot me, make sure I'm doing these right. Number one?
No, down there.
In here, this one's number one? I'll put a picture of it up on screen, so it's a little bit more simple. Two?
Yep.
Alright, there's that side. That wire back. Same as before. Don't let the front drop until the back is lined up.
Back bottom.
Alright, now we're going to start putting our VVT solenoid wires, injectors, clips, all that back into place. Everything but the ignition coils pretty much. Alright, now we can do our plugs real quick. I'm not going to show you guys the spark plugs because I literally already have a video of doing spark plugs on a 3.7. I'm going to get this super easy to remove coolant line out of the way. It's really nice when it's at the end of its service life. It's just really easy to remove because it just falls apart for you. It's not a bug, it's a feature. All right, Tyler's got the plugs changed out, and then we are now going to put this O-ring on, and then our thermostat housing. The O-ring is part number Alpha Tango 4 Zulu 8527 Alpha. Pretty sure I'll find the other one that I ordered somewhere around here sometime. And when you go to put on that thermostat housing, take a little bit of antifreeze, lube up that O-ring, that way it pops right on. We've already got our new gasket on our thermostat housing, and then it's going to be 4 bolts, and these are going to be the bolts with a thick washer on them. So let me get a little bit of dab of antifreeze and those bolts. All right, make sure it's also clean on the inside there. There's not a whole bunch of schmutz about to tear up your new O-ring. Let's push and give it the wiggle. Push it on way too far like I just did. Sorry, the torque is 71 inch-pounds and then 45 degrees. Yeah, they had to go and mix it up on us. Now, we can go back up with this, put on our serpentine belt. It's a whole lot easier to do then. Shove that new radiator and AC condenser home. Alright, so we're going to lift this radiator up into place. I'll hold it there, and then Tyler will put the bar up there and cinch it down. If you're doing this by yourself, I recommend that you have some zip ties staged, hold it up there, secure it with a zip tie so you can let go of it without getting a concussion, and then you can put your bar in and do all that.
Oh, you're gonna put it here?
Oh, come on, baby. Okay, I think no, I'm not there. I'm not level at all. Oh, that's an overhead workout right there. All right, well, the only thing more laughable than actually torquing down those two fittings to factory specs with a torque wrench is trying to film it. So that's our two lines in. I couldn't really show it going on, so there's no room. Don't forget to hook up your old low side pressure switch or high side, whichever one. I think that's a high side. It's a 3-wire, I know that. We got these guys tightened down. We're gonna pop on our lower radiator hose real quick. Don't forget your Torx right here that holds your transmission lines. And then we got to get 2 new clips here that popped off here to hold on these lines. Oh, we already replaced one? Okay. So we'll do that real quick and we'll drop this thing down and button it up from the top. We got this line back on. We got our top radiator hose plugged in. We still need to get our vent line in. There are 2 transmission lines over here, real easy to get to now. Just 2 8mm bolts. I'll put the torque for that on screen. And then we got to get our passenger side radiator hose. All right, now we've got to release those clamps. Little pro tip. Tyler's found out these little pry drivers from Matco. PPB3 are a really good little tool for releasing these hose clamps without a sacrifice of flesh to the hose clamp gods. So good on Tyler for that one. There we go. That radiator hose is on. Where's those bolts? Alright, so these guys are 89 inch-pounds. If you can find room to swing a torque wrench. Pop on your fan connections. Alright, and then we'll put in that vent tube. Here's that vent tube that broke on us that we showed you earlier. That is a part number Charlie Kilo 4 Zulu 8 Bravo 081 Charlie. As you can see, it's much more bendy when it's new. Now, I'm not saying you should do this, okay? But there's a nipple over there. He said nipple. And there's a nipple on the radiator. There's nothing saying that you couldn't use a rubber hose and a couple hose clamps as opposed to the Ford part. Besides, probably my attorney if I had one, and Ford Motor Company. It's totally up to you. I'm going to tell you that you should replace it with only genuine Ford Motor products because they're guaranteed to last about 45,000 miles. My attorney would probably tell me not to say that either. But generally that's about how long they do last for me. So we route that guy right there. He clicks on over here. It's got little spots on the shroud that it clicks into a spot here on the fuse box. Does it go over, under? I think it goes just like that. And then pops right on there to the coolant reservoir bottle.
You're underneath it all.
You're underneath it all. But the system is closed off on the AC system. We can go ahead and start evacuating it because this has been open for a while. We're going to vacuum it for an hour, refill what we took out. I'm going to add a little bit of oil for the AC condenser. That's not necessarily by the book. It's just what I use by my experience. I'm going to add about 5 to 10% of the total oil volume because of what would have come out with the AC condenser. And we'll charge it on up, and usually works for me. Now, it's not by the book, but usually works for me. Alright, so we're going to get, let's pull those rags up. We're going to get our intake put back in. We took it over to the parts washer, cleaned it up real well, put new gaskets in it. We also cleaned out the throttle body while we're at it. Highly recommend you do that while you're here. Where's the long bolt, Tyler? You got it? Long bolt's the only one that's not retained. And there is a torque sequence on these. We will show what that torque sequence looks like. Hold that guy out of the way. That sound you hear humming in the background is just the AC machine drawing a vacuum. Make sure you're not pinching any wires and you're not pinching the wire for your throttle body. Be good and sure that you're not trapping the wire for the map sensor way back here. That's really easy to forget and do. We're going to be doing 89, then 45 degrees. So put on a pot of coffee. It's going to take a bit.
Fast forward. 2 hours later.
2 hours later. Right here.
No, back.
I was testing you, and you passed. Good job. Don't forget to put your purge valve on, and then there's a bracket for something goes right here. What goes? Oh, the vacuum booster line goes right here. This little bracket holds the evap line there. Don't forget your clamp right here. I am in a clamp forgetting mood today.
89.
And Tyler says it's 89 inch-pounds for these 2 bolts here. Putting in our snorkel hose. Maybe I'm putting in our snorkel. There we go, and then we'll put in our air intake. Alright, we got our headlights loosey back in. I haven't tightened them up yet just in case I have to go looking for a leak or anything. AC is charged up. That took forever. Need to go order some Freon. So let's start this thing up. Don't be surprised if your power steering pump makes a bit of a whine. I kind of hand primed this one before we started it, so hopefully it's not too bad. But if it does make a whine, it's not a big deal. Just let it run for a little bit, turn it off, let all the aerated bubbles come back up, top off power steering fluid, you should be fine. So you can probably see what I mean with that valence panel out of the way. You have a lot easier view of the engine, especially up in the front cover area where we've been working. I've wiped everything back, that way I can see if we have a leak here in the future. As it looks right now, focus. Our crank seal looks to be doing good. Our front cover looks to be doing good. I don't see any antifreeze leaking. So, we're looking good. Because we did a lot of work in the engine, there's a possibility that dust and whatnot, maybe little bits of silicone, stuff like that got into the oil. This is a great time to change it, let it run for a little bit, let it wash all that stuff out and change it. If you use a quick adapt drain plug like I do, I would recommend just taking that off. You want a fast flow of oil out of that oil pan. That way if anything's settled at the bottom or there's anything you're trying to get out, it'll come out quickly and not get stuck in that slow flow adapter. So we'll change the oil on this thing real quick.